Hey guys, I hope you're doing great today. So let's get into the first week of July. This is going to be primarily for the first week of July, though what I'm going to be talking about is going to be rolling out for the next 3 to 6 months. You know how these things go. So the way I'm going to do this lead in, and then I'm going to pull cards for each sign separately, and I'm going to have time stamps. So I'm going to have the beginning of the tarot time stamped, okay? And I'm going to be talking specifically with each sign when I start pulling cards with the houses that these transits are going to most be affecting you in. But quite honestly, guys, we have everything in us. We do. So those of you who know your chart know that, just to one degree or another. So I want to speak in general about what we're all going to be feeling, and you're going to know what area of your life it's resonating the greatest with, and then in conjunction with things to look out for your own particular placements. So of course this is going to be for Sun, Rising, Moon, Venus, and then even particular house placements. So I don't want to confuse you guys, so let's just get right into this. So we have the full moon on the 5th. Which is going to be occurring when the Sun in Cancer is going to be opposing the Moon in Capricorn. This is going to be this last set of eclipses occurring on this Cancer-Capricorn sign axis that began back in July of 2018 that we've all been talking about. So just think about what this means for a minute, right? Because the Sun warms our planet, and the Moon it creates the tides. So there's a lot of emotion here, right? The Moon is all about us looking deep inside, feeling what's inside deep. And Capricorn's like, what are you going to do about it? We need to work on this. And that's what happens here. So this can really be, that dynamic can be happening in any area of your life. But we want to understand that we're going to feel very pushed to revisit, to resolve, to, guys, sometimes, just find a solution. And a lot of times to actually get rid of things that aren't serving us anymore. Because it's an emotional time, right? And, when we're dealing with emotions, guys, what are we dealing with a lot of times? A lot of times it's romance. A lot of times it's fertilization of ideas, right? Having to do with something to do with career. It has to do with any kind of relationship, right? So really understand that anything that you feel very passionate about, any sense of deep emotion, this is really going to be moving you, especially wherever Cancer is in the chart, only because Cancer is the North Node and all in this particular dynamic, but Cancer rules the Moon. So, whatever. That's people, you're going to be feeling it in your Cancer house the most. So, again, this is the last gig in this axis set. And this is really considered a final, a major nudge towards resolving an issue that has to do particularly with your Cancer and Capricorn areas in your chart. So you want to know your chart and what that means to you. Right? So the Moon, it's like, the way I'm looking at it is, right, we have the Moon, and then we have Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, right? And again, the Moon is I feel, and Saturn is, that's so nice, Moon, that you feel like that. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Are you going to hold on to it and work on it a little more diligently, where you give greater focus? Or has it reached its expiration date? Is it time to get rid of it? What are you going to do? And that's the thing. Saturn is so about structure and form and karma and slow and restriction, but it's all really necessary. Those of you who've been watching me know I actually really like Saturn, because I know when we get through these Saturn transits, we're all the better for it, first of all. Whatever leaves wasn't meant for us anyway, and the blessings are very, very benefic on the other side. Even though Saturn is considered a malefic by everyone in my industry, I don't know. I have a soft spot in my heart for the old guy, because I know he means well. But Cancer is really going to encourage us to value our base, our home roots. What makes us feel safe? Well, Capricorn is really pushing us to think about our sense of duty and responsibility. So this could have to do with our career. This could have to do within relationships, within family dynamics. Wherever we really need to show up, Capricorn's going to be holding that mirror up to us, really, because, you know, Cancer represents the origin of something, right? And then Capricorn represents the resolution of it. Like, you know, how is it supposed to actually really play out in the 3D? And the thing is, you don't want to neglect any of these things. Like, even if it's uncomfortable, any of these lessons are uncomfortable, you feel like, because you feel the change and you just don't want to do it, or you don't know how to do it, you're convincing yourself that you don't know how to do it, or you don't even know how to get the ball rolling. You know, because it's one thing to say, all right, you know what, like, for example, you know I need to make a change in this relationship, this marriage, this job, whatever, but guess what? I don't have another job right now. Or guess what? I don't have the money to leave right now. But there's nothing preventing you from getting the ball rolling. It's just a matter of realizing that it may not actually go the way that you exactly want it, but it's going to go exactly the way that it needs to go. And I know sometimes that's tough to hear, but that's what this energy is going to be bringing the beginning of July. I mean, guys, it's all about balancing out these two energies, right? So I'll give you an example, right? So let's talk about Cancer and Capricorn, right? I mean, you know, like if we have this first house, seventh house dynamic between Cancer and Capricorn, you know, Capricorn being in the first, it would be like you have to get rid of something that is not serving you as far as your belief system goes about how you work your life, how you are, right? Because the first house has to do with our personality and how we engage with the world and how the world understands us. I mean, it's big, right? But then the seventh house has to do with partnerships. So maybe you need to sacrifice something in yourself for the relationship in order to bring that dynamic to where it needs to go. You know, and a lot of times it's not you actually sacrificing, it's you sacrificing actually like negative concepts that you've had about yourself, realizing that this relationship is not worthy of you. So it could really, it can work in a number of ways, and the houses work with each other. So we're going to talk about that more when we get to the cards. But something's been building inside of each of us, and now is the time when the energy really needs to let go. You will feel that what I'm saying is not a suggestion, guys, if you're resonating. And you may not even be feeling it just yet. It's really not a suggestion. You're going to be feeling it. You're going to be pushed. And if you resist it, it's not going to work well for you. If you go with it, it's going to be beautiful. By the way, this is not doomy or gloomy. There's a lot of things you're going to feel very motivated, especially with Mars's help in there. You know, that's kicking up this month, very motivated and very focused on doing the right thing for yourself and moving your life forward. So I really think this is a good time for this to be happening. But over the coming weeks, and by the way, I just feel like this is the necessary last push over the fence into what's supposed to be this next path in your life, where you're supposed to be going next. You know, we can't sit on our feelings right now. We really need to express them. Now, for some of us, it's going to feel like a little bit of a crisis. It can be just a crisis of consciousness or sudden awareness of lack. And when I say lack, right, of course, it could be money, right? Lack could be emotional support. It could be love. It could be connection with your friends, connection with your kids, where you all of a sudden it's becoming front and center to you that you have this sense of lack. And that Cancer energy does not like that, right? Because it's all about home. So we really need to understand the polarity of the houses, that this is hitting the greatest. But guys, I do want you to apply this to whatever area you're intuitively feeling it. Because when I give the polarities, when we pull the cards, that's always based on your rising sign. And that's how it is for anybody that you listen to on YouTube. It always goes according to your rising sign, because that drives the placement of the houses, right? So understand that. Because then you also have your sun placement. You also have your Venus and your moon. So it's really, that's why I'm careful to not harp on those house placements too much. You want to understand, trust in yourself. You know where the change is happening. You know, and some of you feel it in your relationship, in your job. I mean, I know. A lot of times these dynamics are very just so closely connected to a number of intimate areas. We're going to talk about that. Now, for many, relationships might be challenged, broken, or strengthened during this energy, which is really good. Very dramatically at this time. Like, guys, if you're in a relationship and you guys make it through this time, you guys are good. You guys are good. You guys are solid. You guys are solid. And a lot of you are going to be doing this reconnecting as this kickoff of the retrograde season starts to wind down, right? That the ending of it all is starting to kick off, right? And so there's this winding down, there's this revisiting. A lot of you guys are going to be doing revisiting to something from the past, somebody from the past, particularly, I know Virgo, especially risings, are going to be, if you haven't already been dealing with a returned energy, you are going to be dealing with the returned energy. Other signs will be too, but I'm thinking right here of Virgo, straight out of the gate. But your discoveries, whatever it is going to be very emotionally charged, very dramatic. Lots of epiphanies are going to be hitting you. You're going to be acutely aware of what's working and not working in your life. You really are. It's just going to be very front and center. And this is a very motivating time for you to incite change and for you to get rid of, seriously, like what is not working for you. Because full moons are always really good at magnifying something that's not working, right? Some sort of pre-existing issue that we're dealing with in our life, just so that we could bring it back into balance or bring ourselves back into balance. Our larger work should be reaching a good balance between focus on personal and private lives, and or like professional and public duty and responsibility and goals. You know, like there's got to be this balancing out. We're all going to be feeling this need to balance out particular areas of our life. And this is all happening very close to the Jupiter and Pluto retrograde conjunction that I talked about last time. And this is making revelations pretty dramatic for a lot of us right now. So it's in harmony with Uranus, which is going to just help us to let go and release, right? Because Uranus is all about the future. Uranus is the future. So this is really good. And remember, this is going to take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to roll out. It's going to be a little different energetically for everybody, but just know that this is for a long while, guys. We're not going to be dealing with this version of this energy for at least another 18 years. So don't worry about it. So it's going to be kind of like a clean slate moving forward. Are there going to be other energies that come up? Of course. This is life, right? But not this way. This has been a tough transit for many of us. Even those with like weaker Cancer Capricorn energies in our charts. It's been pretty profound couple of years for all of us. I think we could all agree. So I'm going to turn my chair around. My cards are back there, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Bye-bye. Hi, Scorpio. Welcome to your first week of July general reading. I hope you guys are doing great, and I hope you took advantage of the stimulus video that I made for the free $1,000 stimulus money. A lot of people don't know about it. Kind of walk you guys through it. Hopefully you'll check that out. I'll link that below for those of you who didn't catch that, maybe in your pop-up feed. So Scorpio, we have 3rd house, 9th house happening with this eclipse, specifically for Scorpio rising in particular. To a lesser degree, Sun, Moon, and Venus. So 3rd house is all about communication. The landlord is Gemini, Mercury ruler. It's all about learning something new, learning a new perspective of something, learning a new skill, communicating. And that 9th house has to do with belief system. That is the natural, Sagittarius is the natural landlord of the 9th house, ruled by Jupiter, right? So you guys are going to have, your moon is going to be impacting that 3rd house, and the sun is going to be impacting that 9th house. But it's going to be about balancing out here between the two, right? So let's pull some Lenormand and get some crowning energies to give us some direction first. We have the Ring. Remember, the Lenormand is different than regular tarot, guys. The cards speak to each other. We take them in isolation, but then we have to marry it up as one message. Okay, so why don't we get into this? Wow, okay. We have Ring, we have Clock, and we have the bird cage. Oh, the key, rather. The key with the bird cage. This is very interesting because this really does depend. I want to look at the time and this first. If we're talking about the fabulous Ring. Guys, time is of the essence. Having to, like, time waits for no one. Time is an issue here. Depending on your situation, you're either going to have to speed something up or be really patient. You're going to know which way it turns, but you have to really be very honest with yourself. How are you showing up in this situation? Because with the key, this could be having to do with freedom and foundation, or it could have to do with it being like that, that gilded bird cage, right? Where you end up locking yourself away and into something, which is such that ninth house energy, right, guys? It's where, we get trapped in this definitive belief system that we've created for ourselves, where we don't let anyone in or out, because that's the ninth house, is a belief system and how we think things should be, And the thing is, depending on the choice that you make. But I feel like there's time is of the essence. There's something timely about this decision that you need to make, Scorpio, having to do with that relationship, that job situation, that family connection. That is what this indicates. Now, talking about the ring, okay, so for relationships, this can indicate marriage, commitment, anything like that, bring harmony, right, to a union, as long as there aren't really negative cards around it. And just because, not that these are necessarily negative, but it just depends on the choices that you make right now. So if you are really wondering, should I get back with that person? Should I reach out? Should I hear them differently? Should I? Yeah, it seems like, either do it or don't do it. Like, you need to make a definitive decision if you're going to or if you're not. Because, Scorpio, honestly, the person that you're dealing with, they're not going to wait. I know a lot of you guys aren't going to like that I'm saying that, but I don't get that they're going to wait. Now, this is the thing with the ring, though, okay? In antiquity, this does bring a reward. Okay, if we're talking about crystal lore, this brings riches. So I always interpret it that way as well, because not everybody's in a relationship. If this has to do with the decision that you're needing to make about a career, there's a timely essence to it. You have to make a decision, okay? But what I like about this is it's very benefic. So if you make the decision, this does indicate things going really well, because the ring does symbolize commitment. It can speak of a contract being drawn up between a couple of people or business partners, right? And it typically is an object of value for whoever gets this, right? So it would end up being a very benefic kind of thing for you, having to do with business or even within that close relationship. But it has to do with you making a decision to really look at your belief system having to do with whatever's on your heart. And you're realizing that you need to make a decision in a timely way, because that decision is gonna drive whether, regarding this opportunity, you end up locking yourself away from being able to bring it into fruition, or blessing yourself in the biggest way. Yeah, pretty clear. Doesn't make sense to me. Why don't we throw the Astro dice, pull an Astro card before we pull your Celtic cross spread. Gemini, learning something new. Yes. So something's going to have to be given up in that belief system. Scorpio, this is all about learning something new. And not only learning something new, but something that really speaks to you. And that you can have direct application of. So if this has to do with a relationship, keeping it real, this is about recognizing that maybe you haven't been seeing things 100% the best way, and learn a new way of handling a situation, or you realizing that somebody that you've been dealing with really they have a lot to learn about what it is to be in a relationship. And you're just understanding this. And some of you even getting online and being like, you know what, it's time for me to connect to other people. So, it's going to depend on how it's resonating with you. Okay, and then we have, get this, we have the ninth house. This is so crazy, because this is where you have the eclipse. And this has to do with your belief system. Yeah, and Uranus is all about the future. So, listen, Uranus is about, letting go of something that you've been holding on to just a little too strongly. Like, this energy supports you breaking through these boundaries of self-imposed limitations and building something brand new from the ground up. So if this has to do with, that makes perfect sense. If this has to do with a business, if it has to do with a relationship, it's recognizing that in order for this relationship to be successful, it's going to have to be rebuilt from the ground up. And there's going to have to be a redress of belief systems where things are handled differently and in a new way, having to do with the Geminian energy, right? That is the North Node right now. It's about learning how to do things differently. You must learn how to do things differently, Scorpio. So this could be just seeing a video online. You know, when we're talking about Gemini, we're talking about direct application. Picking up that self-help book, listening to a relationship video, if it has to do with relationship. If it has to do with a career, you know, maybe it's some sort of YouTuber is in an industry that you're looking to get into, and it just like, it hits you out of nowhere, like, yes, this is what I want to do. That's exactly that's the piece of information that's been missing. I mean, it can manifest a bunch of different ways. I'm just giving you some examples. And we have Uranus, it's all about the future. Yeah, come on now. Come on now, my friends. We got 2 Uranus energies, so it's all about the future. Some of you guys might be dealing with an Aquarius as well. Scorpio, just because Uranus does rule Aquarius. But, all right, let's see what's going on here. Celtic cross spread. Okay, shadow side. And feeling confused. That's incredible. We get the crowning energy. We have the Fool, which is a Uranus energy. We have more Uranus energy. Well, I do, listen, the near future is fabulous, so it's all good. It just looks like it's going to be a minute to get there. Oh, and you're going to have to get out of your own way, for goodness sake. All right. That's all right. Listen, it's part of the human condition. Let's talk about this. King of Cups coming into this. So you could have been dealing with the King of Cups. You could have been the King of Cups because it's a court card. So it could be you, another person, or just the general influence. But when we're talking about this energy in the reverse, it's something ending and it not being rebuilt. And it's something that felt inherently unfair to you. Somebody pulling back, somebody breaking up with you, somebody pulling back from a relationship, you losing a job. Again, because it's a Libra reverse. Libra is ruled by Venus. So Venus is all up. It's one of the money planets. It's also where our self-value hangs out, and love. And it's our relationship, our serious relationship placement. But let's not forget that the glyph is the scale. So something that you feel something was handled unfairly, or you handled something unfairly. Okay? Again, court card. Could be you, could be them, could be the general influence. But coming into this energy is what I'm getting was the situation, is this holding back, this sort of like stopping short of something. Okay? Situation right now, we have the shadow side. Shadow side is the devil energy. This is all about imbalance. This could have to do with excessive anxiety, depression, any sort of addiction, any sort of imbalance, guys. It doesn't have to be addiction to any substance, actually. Again, it could be egotism. It could be lust, materialism. It could be, just really wanting something a certain way, in a way to a point, though, that ended up impacting the relationship. Now, that could have been you acting that way or them acting that way. But it's definitely imbalance that's being crossed by the Two of Swords, which is you being across purposes with yourself. And Moon in Libra. Moon is about I feel, and Libra is about relationship, and you being unsure about what it is that you really feel like the right thing to do in this relationship is. And I'm just going to go back to the clock here, tick tock, right? Because you're sitting there, this is a pause position. This is one of the pause cards, right? You're not moving right now. You're across purposes between two truths, two realities. What should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? I'm not sure. In this relationship, in this business decision, what do I do? Now, you really want to pay attention to the devil energy. Where is the imbalance coming from? It's going to be different for each of you. Is it coming from you? Is it coming from them? Nobody's throwing shade on anybody, guys. It's all part of the human condition. You just have to understand where is the imbalance. Who's holding too fast to things being a particular way? Who can create change that's choosing not to create change in order to move a relationship, a career, a business, something forward, any family relationship, friendship, right? Crowning energy is the Fool. This is about getting on a fresh path, taking a calculated risk, and it going beautifully. Uranus is all about the future, and you don't have any regret here. Look how light you're traveling. You're like, you just want to start over. You want to work towards the future and start over. Now, for some of you, this is going to be brand spanking new. Throw all of this nonsense behind you and just keep on keeping on and not deal with anything from the past. Others of you are going to want to start a whole fresh path with a new set of eyes having to do with something that's in your life already. But we have the Seven of Wands energy here, which is you drawing a line in the sand and you establishing, you or somebody that you're dealing with, certainly, right? Because this really does have to do with the situation, right? Drawing a line in the sand saying, this is what I want, need, and desire. This is Mars and Leo. This is no joking around. This is you or somebody else being the king of their own land and laying it down, saying, Scorpio, this is what I want, need, and desire. Can you deliver your end of the deal? Having to do with that business, having to do with that relationship, and you perhaps feeling kind of conflicted about it, right? Because you do see, like right now, this is you. You're looking at the rest of your life right now. This is so nice. This is so nice. I love the Three of Wands energy. I really do. It's one of my favorite minor arcana cards because it's Sun in Aries, and it's just such a fresh, like, you're being called down a different road. And that really, you are feeling like that's where you're supposed to be. Because the Sun is all about warmth and cultivating, right? And Aries being ruled by Mars, and we're all gonna have Mars popping in our chart, for goodness sake, from July until January. January 6th, it's gonna be big between now and then, right? So we're all gonna be feeling this heavy motivation and this strong passion and this calling and this pulling forward onto this new path. And Scorpio, I see you very front and center with that. Now we have the High Priestess, which is the Hierophant energy. This is an external energy to you. So this could have to do with marriage. This can be a marriage partner if you're here with a relationship on your heart. The High Priest is a marriage card. It does indicate elevating or deepening a connection or commitment that you're in. This could also have to do with, if it has nothing to do with that for you, this could have to do with your general belief system, right? And you kind of trying to marry up your belief system against what's going on in the world right now, trying to figure out where you even fit in all of it, you know, and how you're going to move forward in all of this, in this new world. And I know that sounds very dramatic, but it's really not, actually, because we have so much change going on right now. And you really sitting down and thinking about, you know, what do I believe about all of this, right? Because you're going to have that ninth house energy. And you want that ninth house energy to help you out. This is the external, I mean, this is literally, it's just so funny, because this is literally the ninth house energy as the external energy that's helping you out. So the tarot and astrology is completely aligning for you guys, where it is this idea of what do you believe? What do you want for yourself, right? But in your fear position, we have the Page of Swords. So again, core card, this could be you, someone else, or general influence, but it's a fear. So it's not real. So you can be scared of moving into this next cycle in your life because you're not sure, is it going to be true to who you are and what you really want? Are you going to be able to trust it? Are you going to be able to trust it? You're just not sure. You know, you're in this space of questioning. I really am getting that. Now, the outcome, which is very interesting to me, is the Four of Cups energy. This is a very powerful minor arcana, guys, because this is, I call this the checklist card. Those of you who've been watching me know I call this the checklist card. This tells me that a lot of you are going to be feeling either really restless with your life in general, knowing you need to make a move one way or the other, really bored. Now, more specifically, if this has to do with a relationship, those of you in a long-term relationship, this could just be indicative of you guys just being really super busy, paying attention to everything else in your lives but your relationship, where you guys need to focus a little bit more on the romance, infuse some romance back instead, for fear like you may end up just staying in a relationship to stay in a relationship rather than it actually exciting you and you being really happy about being in it. So that's for those of you in a very long-term relationship. For those of you in either a shorter relationship or in like some sort of work situation, you're identifying things that you really don't like about either the person or the job. And what you need to understand, though, is you need to dig a little deeper and understand what is it in you that those actions are bringing up for you. What kind of old scars are those tapping into? How are these things and these emotions that you're feeling, how are they resonating with your past life? Meaning, for example, having to do with like an intimate relationship. Maybe your partner is doing a couple of things here and there that you really, really don't like, but maybe they're bigger than you're making them bigger maybe than they should be or need to be. But maybe that's because like you saw lack of resolve maybe in your parents' relationships where they would fight, but they wouldn't make up. So the silliest little fight in a relationship can throw you over the edge, where you weren't really exposed to really healthy resolution, conflict resolution. I'm just giving that as an example. But it's this idea that something is going on and it's making you feel a certain way internally, and you identifying it as being all them. And what you need to do is recognize your role in it and how it might be touching on aspects of you that you're just really sensitive about, and getting in touch with that. Because the reality is maybe you weren't as ready as you thought for that relationship. Maybe you weren't as ready as you thought to take on that position within that career. It could be. I'm not saying you were or you weren't, but that is something that often comes up with that energy. But now in the near future, we have the Ten of Pentacles, which is a really beautiful Mercury and Virgo energy. And it's about feeling very comfortable, and there being a deepening of commitment, a deepening of communication, a deepening of understanding. This is a very benefic energy for anything business related. So any choice that you make is really going to end up being very benefic for you, but you need to make a choice. What you can't do is stand still. If you stand still and you don't make a decision and go after that position, that job, that change in job, that relationship, fix that family connection, whatever it is, however it's resonating with you, if you don't move and you don't do, you're not going to be balancing out these opposing energies, and it's not going to be benefic for you. It's going to work out positively if you make a decision to do something. Something. So whether it's to end something or fix something, that is what this does indicate. Now, if it has to do, again, with business, having the ruby, super, really, really good energy, but you have to make the decision. Because time is ticking. Time is ticking and the future is waiting. I don't get readings like this a lot, I have to tell you. And those of you who've been watching me know I don't normally give like, come on, you have to make a decision. Normally I'm the opposite, but I'm not getting that, Scorpio. Get on it. You got to make a decision. If you have to, sit down and write out pros and cons, whatever you have to do, make a decision, because the energies on the other side of it are really good, but only if you make the decision and figure out where the imbalance is, for sure. All right, my friends, that is what I have for you. I hope this was helpful in some way. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.